Should you be worried about your investments like SCHD with Charles Schwab? And what would happen to Schwab if they were to go bankrupt? Well, Charles Schwab has some rules in place to protect your investments so you don't have to worry about losing your hard-earned money. First off, if Charles Schwab were to fail, your assets like stocks and bonds would be safe and not given to other people. They would be returned to you or transferred to another brokerage firm of your choosing like Fidelity or Vanguard. But wait, that's not all. Schwab also has SIPC coverage, which protects up to $500,000 for clients' investments and $250,000 of uninvested cash if the company fails. This means that each account, like I have at Schwab in my taxable, my Roth, and my self-directed IRA, would be protected up to $500,000 each. However, some investments like cash and futures accounts would not be covered. But don't worry, Schwab has a special insurance policy with Lloyd's of London that gives up to $600 million in protection in case the first SIPC coverage isn't enough. And if you have a checking or savings account with Schwab, it's protected by FDIC up to $250,000 in case something should happen to their bank. So you can rest assured that your money is safe. Now, what about SCHD, the US Dividend Equity ETF that holds about 100 of some of the biggest and best dividend-paying companies? Well, there seems to be some confusion about what would happen if Charles Schwab were to go bankrupt. Schwab says that SCHD would essentially be liquidated of all the stocks held within and the cash returned to you, which would fall under the insurance protection. But ChatGPT seems to disagree, saying that SCHD would still exist as a separate entity and would continue to be traded on the stock exchange, and the underlying assets held in the ETF would not be affected. So either way, unless you had more than $500,000 of SCHD in any one single account, there's not really much reason to worry. But if you were to hold Charles Schwab's stock, ticker SCHW, you would likely lose your entire investment in that stock. But I spoke to Schwab on the phone, and as they told me, there's a slim chance that they would ever go under because the main driver of their business is providing brokerage and investment services to individual and institutional investors. They don't do direct loans or investment banking like Silicon Valley Bank did, and although they do offer banking services such as checking and savings accounts, mortgages, and other lending services through their subsidiary, Charles Schwab Bank, the company is not a bank. And even Charles Schwab himself was part of a response letter pointing out that, quote, collectively more than 80% of client cash held at Schwab Bank is insured dollar for dollar by the FDIC, and as a comparison, the banks in the news the last few days have between 2% and 20% of their deposits insured. So if you're worried about your investments, don't be. Charles Schwab has you covered. And while SCHD is a great ETF that I continue to build my position in, it's missing a few sectors that you might want to be aware about so you can make a more informed investment decision. So if you click this little box floating next to my head, I'll tell you all about it there.